Well, today marks the first anniversary of Biden's most expensive lie, or one of them at least, the Inflation Reduction Act, the core pillar of Bidenomics, which in fact did not lower inflation, but poured millions of dollars, billions of dollars of your hard-earned dollars into fighting climate change. Joining me now is former advisor to Presidents Clinton and Trump, author of The Return, and host of Dick Morris Democracy. Dick Morris. Dick, about $700 billion for that. $1.7 trillion for the infrastructure that never went to infrastructure. The man lies about his spending, doesn't he?
Well, of course, the point is not what he spent it on, but that he spent it, because that amount of spending, which so screws up the economy, that it forces major inflation. Even if he spent it on constructive purposes, it would be terrible. We were running a huge budget deficit because of COVID. And then Biden had the choice of slowly ratcheting it down, which would have given us economic growth without inflation. Instead, he ratcheted it up, continued to spend at a crazy level, and deliberately led to the inflation that's gripping us now. And those two packages were instrumental in that.
You know, Dick, today the Fed came out, we read the minutes of the notes from the last Fed meeting, and the Fed expects higher inflation going forward, so maybe expect some more interest rate rises, yet this guy keeps wanting to spend more money, forgive more student debt. That's spending.
Yeah, of course it's spending. I mean, look, let's get to reality. When Bill Clinton was president, we had a balanced budget at the end. Then we got hit with 9/11. We had to run a deficit for a number of years. Then we had the banking crisis, secondly, and Obama had to borrow money to get over those. And we largely did. It was largely successful federal policy. Then we were walloped with COVID, and we preserved American economy and Americans by spending a great deal of money and running a $3 trillion deficit. But then Biden continued that level of spending for no reason at all, except to get reelected. And he has so unbalanced the economy and so screwed it up that long-term inflation is the result. And this inflation isn't going away. It's going to increase as we approach election day. And it is all artificial. It's not because we needed to spend the money for anything. It's just that we spent it. And that level of expenditure triggered major inflation, and will continue to do it.
Half a minute or so, Dick. The guy claims to have, first he said cut the debt. I think he misspoke. He said he cut the deficit. He cut it from a ridiculous number that we had to spend, as you point out, because of COVID. But the trajectory is still more spending under a Democrat.
Yeah, of course it is. When he said he cut the deficit, there was a big deficit when nobody could pay taxes because the economy was closed down. And then they reopened the economy, and naturally, some of the deficit was overcome. But rather than sit back and let that happen, he just intervened in the most decisively awful way. And the inflation that we're seeing is because of that. And also, at the same time, he crimped supply by cutting back on energy development.
Yeah, exactly. He brought us to energy dependency again from Trump's independence. Dick Morris, thank you for joining us.
Lowered supply.
Yes, sir.